Okay, guys, today is 5.10 L'Hopital's Rule. That is pronounced L'Hopital's Rule, not El Hospital, okay? There's no S in there. L'Hopital. In order to do this one, what we're going to be dealing with is we're going to be talking about limits today, okay? And I know that goes way back to the second chapter, but remember, this one here for L'Hopital's rule is you need to be able to take derivatives. So I couldn't have shown you L'Hopital's rule until you knew how to take a derivative. So here we are. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about is limits that are approaching a number. So like something that's like approaching 2 or something. So first of all, what are the 3 rules to evaluating a limit that's converging to a real number, like this one? Okay, so if you remember, first thing is you plug in 2 and see if it gives you an answer. I know it's been a while since we've done this, so if you need to go back and, and look at the PowerPoint, you're more than welcome. Okay, and remember, if substituting in the value doesn't work because it gives you something like something divided by 0, like 5 divided by 0, that means you need to factor and cancel. And factoring and canceling will get rid of that thing on the bottom that's making you divide by 0. Now, if that doesn't work, you can still get an answer of either infinity, negative infinity, or does not exist. And remember, how do you check which one of these is going to be the answer? That's going to be plugging in a little to the left and plugging in a little to the right. Okay, so let's go through some of these and just remind ourselves how to do them. Okay, so first one here. So we're going to do the first rule. We're doing a limit to a number. We plug it in, see what it gives us. So 2, 3 squared minus 3 minus 15 all over 3 minus 3. Okay, that's going to give us a 9 times 2 is 18 minus 3 minus 15 all over 3 minus 3 is 0. Okay, 18 minus 3 is 15 minus 15. That's going to give us 0 over 0. Okay, we are dividing by 0. Remember, you can have a 0 on the top. That's good. But you cannot do that. You can never have a 0 on the denominator. Okay, and so remember that tells us that step 1 did not work. So we're going to go to step 2. And that's setting up factors and seeing if anything cancels, right? We would like to cancel out this x minus 3. But I don't know if the top is going to factor to something that cancels that x minus 3 out. Let's find out. 2x and x. And it looks like our numbers are probably either going to be 5 and 3. Here I'm going to set up my little cross, okay? So 2x and x. Okay, I'm going to do 5 and 3. Cross multiply, that's going to give me 6x. Cross multiply, that's going to be 5x. And yeah, I can get the middle number, negative 1x from there. That'll be negative, that'll be positive. So the negative, this needs to be negative, this needs to be positive. Those are my two factors, 2x plus 5 and x minus 3. Yeah? Okay. And I have x minus 3 on the bottom. Okay, the whole point of that was seeing if I could factor and cancel. And I did, I canceled that out. Leaving me with, remember that cancels out a whole. That was a whole, we just got rid of the whole. So now we have a new limit we can evaluate. The limit as x approaches 3 of 2x plus 5. And we just go back to plugging it in, seeing if we get an answer. So 2 times 3 plus 5, that's going to give us 6 plus 5 is 11. And that is the answer to this one. Now, I want you to put that into your mind. Don't forget this one, because I do use it to show you guys L'Hopital's rule, okay? So remember this problem here, and remember the answer is 11. Okay, so let's go forward. Okay, now here is L'Hopital's rule, okay? It states that if you're doing a limit to some number, okay, I'm going to call that number a in this case, then if you plug a in, okay, and it gives you an answer of 0 over 0, or some form of infinity over infinity, it could be like negative infinity over infinity or vice versa. If it gives you something like that, then you can use L'Hopital's rule, okay? When you get something like 0 over 0 or infinity over infinity, that's what's called an indeterminate form, okay? If you get an indeterminate form, which means there is no answer, then you can use L'Hopital's rule, which means you can take the derivative of the top and write it down, the derivative of the bottom and write it down, and then try plugging in a again. Okay, so let's do this and show you guys what it actually means. Okay, notice this is the exact same problem from the last one. I know the answer is 11, okay? So let's, here, I'll put the answer over here. I know the answer is 11. We did it earlier with our old methods. Let's see if we can use L'Hopital's rule. So the first thing is plugging in 3 and seeing if it gives you 0 over 0. And if you remember, it did. This gives us 0 all over 3 minus 3, which is 0. Okay, it gave us an indeterminate form, which is 0 over 0. So that means we can use L'Hopital's rule. So L'Hopital, okay, L hop. Here we go. Now I'm still going to be doing the limit as x approaches the same number, 3, okay? Now I'm going to take the derivative of the top. Now notice I'm not doing quotient rule or any of that. I'm just taking the derivative of the top. That's going to be 4x minus 1. That's the derivative of the top. Take the derivative of the bottom, which is just going to be 1. Okay, now we got a new function here. I can plug in 3, and if it gives me a number, that's going to be the answer. Or if it gives me a 0 over 0 again, then I can do this L'Hopital again, okay? But let's see what happens here. If I plug in 3, I'm going to have 4 times 3 minus 1 all over 1, which is going to be 12 minus 1, which is 11 over 1, which is 11. Okay, that's L'Hopital's rule. See, that's a lot easier than going through those steps in the prior one, in my opinion. I mean, I guess factoring isn't too bad either. It's really up to you. But sometimes you're going to get some L'Hopital's rule problems where factoring and canceling is not going to help you. Like this one over here, okay? So let's do this one over here. First thing is check to see it. So plug in -4. And this is always the first step. Plug in the number, see if it gives you an answer. So we're going to have square root of a -4 squared minus 15 minus 1 all over -4 plus 4. Okay, well the bottom is 0. That one's easy. Okay, the top is going to be 16 minus 15, which is 1. So square root of 1 is 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay, since I got 0 over 0, I can use L'Hopital. Okay, now if I would have gotten like something like 5 over 0, then I would have tried to factor and cancel. If that didn't work, which it wouldn't have in this case, I would have had to plug in a little to the left, a little to the right. My answer was either going to be infinity, negative infinity, or it does not exist. Just like you guys learned in chapter 2. But since I got 0 over 0, I can use L'Hopital's rule, which means now I can take the derivative of the top. Okay, so I'm still doing the limit as x approaches -4. Now I can do the derivative of the top, which is going to be chain rule. Don't miss that, okay? So this whole thing can be rewritten as a half, right? Because of the square root. Okay, so chain rule here, we'd have a half. My new exponent would be a -1/2. Inside, I leave that alone, so it should be x squared minus 15 times the derivative of the inside, which would be 2x. And then the derivative of -1 is just nothing, so I can be done with that. All over the derivative of the bottom, which is just 1. Okay, notice I didn't do chain rule. I didn't do quotient rule. I did the derivative of the top, which happened to include chain rule in it. I did the derivative of the bottom, okay? Now I want to plug in my -4, but first let's rewrite this because I got this negative exponent and everything. So I'm still have the limit as x approaches -4. And I'll move this 2 on bottom and this whole thing on bottom here. So all I'm going to have left on top is a 2x all over, this 2 is on bottom, square root of x squared minus 15. Okay, now you could cancel out those 2's if you wanted to, so it's just going to be x over that. Okay, now I want to plug in -4 into here. Okay, now if it gives me 0 over 0 again for an answer, I can do L'Hopital's rule again. But hopefully it's just going to give me an answer. So let's plug in negative 4. Notice I cancel out those 2's, so I'm just ignoring them. All over the square root of negative 4 squared minus 15. Okay, that's going to give me negative 4 all over. That's going to be 16 minus 15, which is just 1. Square root of 1 is 1. So my answer is negative 4. Okay, that's L'Hopital's rule with that one. Now notice you would not have been able to get that answer with our old methods. L'Hopital's rule was the only way to figure out this limit. Okay, so let's go forward, and that's it. Okay, cool. Good luck on the worksheet.